Live, and we are live. Hey, good morning. Guess what? It's actually the 5 a.m. hour. It's 5:50 a.m. and this is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, and I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile. And today I'm going to talk about why bother? Why bother asking? And then hiring contractors or consultants, and the difference between hours and getting things done. And those are going to be our topics for today. And just how Agile and Scrum, which we talk about, apply. How do we take those concepts and bring value to the customer without working crazy hours? Like we said, hire more contractors, work more hours, and have a little fun, get stuff done, and go home to family and friends, and have fun and work, and then home. And so I wanted to share that with you. And one of the things about Scrum and Agile is just like, you don't want to put out stuff too early. Like I wrote notes the other day. I said, why bother? And I wrote down, and what I was going to talk about was the getting the shot right, and what would be the odds about me getting on the list to get the shot right. I'm not one of the major criteria characteristics. So, but I went online to go see about being able to get one of my get the shot. And if you don't know what shot it is what the shot is. But I'm not saying the word because I don't want to get banned. Gosh, they always do stuff like that. Government overreacts at things all the time. So does other places. But I went on the website and checked it. Apparently, I'm obese. It's nothing like hearing that little Wii thing. If you remember the Wii going, "You're obese!" Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm like, great, thank you. So I did qualify. I don't know if I'm gonna get an email. I don't know if I'm gonna get a list. But you know what? Gotta ask, right? So get in line, get in and ask for the shot. Because if you don't ask, you'll never get. And that's one of the things in Scrum, in Agile thinking. Why bother? And this is why I had this little train, right? So you see that little train there? This is like a model, one of the original trains. As you can see over here, looks like an old stagecoach, which it pretty much was. An old stagecoach put on train wheels and got pulled by this steam engine here. One day I'm going to build that steam engine. That's my plan. I'm going to build that one. So, in real life, by the way. So, why bother? Why bother taking a stagecoach and turning into this? Because in the future, the vision will be a lot bigger, faster mode of transportation. We got Tesla cars now. We got rockets going to the moon. But you know what? If they said, why bother change the stagecoach, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So why bother is because you never know. It might offer opportunities for bigger and better things later down the pike. And now we got those high-speed trains in Europe. They're all over the place. Japan and China. U.S. has their high-speed rails. It all started with these guys, right? So, question is, why bother? Because there's opportunity to do better, produce more, be faster, quicker. And it's just something to think about, right? Everybody says, why bother asking? Why bother asking management? Why bother asking the environmental stuff or the infrastructure people for capabilities? I've seen large companies, who had the worst time. They challenged themselves, and they now spin up servers in 5 minutes, man. They're done and working. They got an environment set up. Everything's good to go, and they're just running away and building things they want. There's other companies out there that still can't do that, and then they because they get on optics. So you got to question it, because sooner or later it's going to get better. Hope, or the company's going to go under, basically, and get beat, and that's where it goes to the contractor versus consulting discussion. Agile, and especially Scrum, mostly Scrum, and the Agile mindset, dealing with contractors, right? So many people, and I look at building, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about SpaceX now too. The answer is, let's hire more people. If we want to do this capability, we need to hire more people. All consultants all the consultancy, they get rewarded by how many hours they work, not by product they produce, right? If it was by product they produce, they would package it up and sell it themselves to you to use. But no, they get paid by hours worked, which is not what we should be measuring in Scrum. We should be measuring hours worked. Should be measuring how much work gets done and give credit to companies for getting work done. The more they work from an Agile perspective, the more they get paid, right? Or they get a better rate, let's just say. But most of our answer is we'll just have to hire 10 more people, build another team, keep adding on teams. That isn't always a solution. And I got to post up a link later today. I was on SpaceX. So I was kind of curious. I saw SpaceX is going to launch another rocket today. I'm like, wow. I mean, they're launching rocket. Their plan is a rocket launch at least twice a month, minimum, right? If not more. And they're launching their satellites, their Starlink satellites. And I was like, well, how many rockets do they really have? Well, I think of the rockets they had launching or in service the other last year. I think only 5 were brand new. The other 20 some odd were refurbished ones they've had before. They're not buying more rockets. They have enough rockets for in case something goes wrong, and they want to make a higher rate of delivery. So they're probably going to produce a little more, but only because when they produce more, it's just going to pay for its dividends in the future, right? So they're going to add a team based on or you picture a rocket as a team. They're going to build a new team with the expectations it's going to be working a lot. On average, I think they're averaging 5 to 7 reuses a year now, or for each rocket. Everybody else before was, oh, we're not going to reuse the rocket. We're just going to build new rockets. So it costs them a fortune. It doesn't cost SpaceX much money to refurb the rocket and reuse it. They don't repaint it. They don't make it look all pretty. They may, but the ones I've seen are pretty burnt. But this is superficial. And hiring new teams doesn't get you. It's about production. And when they find what they do that really works, they keep working at it, right? And I just want to say, just from an Agile perspective in Scrum, don't hire new teams because you need to produce more work unless this work's going to be there. And work on the teams you got, make them better. Do not measure by hours, right? Hours are terrible. I saw somebody said, well, you have a choice between measuring by hours and by points. Hours are a terrible measure. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Because now you're getting paid by hour, not by what's work done. So it's a terrible measure. It's a terrible metric for Agile. It's a terrible mindset thing to measure by hours. I don't care what anybody says. The only thing the hours should be tell you, can you get this work done in so much time? Other than that, just to give you an estimate, that's as far as you should go. I know other people argue with me. Some of these Agile coaches have been around. They're like, well, you need to know hours. But it's such a terrible mindset because now you're getting paid for hours worked, not for work done. And the problem is, as someone who hires these consultants who get paid by the hour, there's no incentive to getting stuff done. There's no reward for getting stuff done. Just reward for how many hours you work. And then maybe if you get stuff done, you may not get fired, right? It's not a good thing. And then the worst thing is your customer, right? So think of it this way. You're working by hours. You're measuring by hours. Everything's by hours and not by the work done, right? So you, as a person who hires these subcontractors, will have spent hours and hours and installed so much sunk cost for these hours. In the end, you may only get this little bit done, right? Where in Agile world, you're getting stuff done every sprint. Every 2 weeks, you're getting stuff done. You can see how productive the contractor you're working with really is. But by spreading it out over time, no, you can't do it. You can't see how productive they are. There's no measurement. Just because they worked hours on it doesn't mean anything. I think it's my alarm. 6 o'clock out there, everybody. So something to think about. Challenge yourself. Challenge your next contract, next subcontract. and say, hey, one of the things we want to measure is maybe you got to get creative. Do it differently. Like work done on a team. However they measure what's the definition of done, and everybody agrees between the product owner, scrum master, and the team. That's how you get paid, by getting work stuff done. And not little stuff, by points, right? So, but you know what? They can also inflate points. I don't know. It's a never-ending battle. It'll continue. But I do say doing things by hours is not the way to do it. Anyway, that's what we got for today. Please give us a thumbs up if you like our show. Yeah, it was kind of a little lofty conversation today, but tactical part is don't do hours on your subcontracts with consultants. They'll pay their personnel rate, but it's about getting stuff done. It ain't about doing hours. And ring the little bell. And don't forget, don't give up. Ask the question. Go out there and say, well, why can't I do this? And why not sign up for it? Can't hurt. What's your other answer? If you sign up for it and you don't get it, how is that any different from what you are now? At least you signed up for it. If you never sign up, you'll never get the opportunity. Just remember that. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and see you tomorrow.